Hi, I'm Rachel. I usually do these videos with my husband Nick, but he is at work right now, which is very fitting because that's what this video is kind of all about. So the two of us have been nomadic for the past 4 years. In 2018, we moved to Cambodia together and started this whole kind of journey. And now we live in an ambulance, and along the way, we have done all sorts of jobs to make it work for ourselves. Before we went traveling, we were living in Vancouver, which is obviously like an extremely expensive city, and we were working jobs that were great and like we did like our jobs, but they weren't necessarily covering all the bills, and it took a long time for us to kind of save up any money at all because we were mostly in like a paycheck to paycheck kind of lifestyle, and we really wanted to do something different with our lives, but we were definitely not in a space where we could just like save up a whole bunch of money and go travel the world. Like that didn't feel realistic. So we started off with a small goal of saving up like a couple $1,000s, which took us over half a year to do between the two of us. And we moved to Cambodia to teach English. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the jobs, that job, and all of the jobs that we have done since then, in case someone watching this is in the position that we were in before we left. I'm going to kind of explain how we funded this entire adventure. We've been to a whole bunch of countries. We just came back from a 6-month trip throughout the USA. So let's talk about it. Hopefully it will get the gears turning, and yeah, let's begin. So the very first job that I want to talk about that we did do when we started traveling was teaching English. I had a friend that was doing this in China, so I started looking into it. And if this sounds interesting to you, but you have no idea where to start, we do have lots of videos about it on our channel. That they are old, but they exist. And that's when we learned that we would have to get something called a TEFL certificate if we wanted to start teaching English overseas. So we did that. We found a TEFL course near us and got certified. If you want to know what that is, it's just basically a certificate that a lot of countries and jobs will require for you to teach English there, because it qualifies you to teach English to people who speak any other language. So all of these are going to be like rapid fire. Obviously this was a longer journey than what I'm going to be explaining in this video, as goes for all of the jobs that I'm going to be talking about in this video. But again, we do have videos about this on the channel. But yeah, we got TEFL certified, we decided where we wanted to go, and then we checked like all the visa, vaccine requirements, and like any other travel requirements, and we sold all of our stuff and moved to Phnom Penh. We kind of just went for it, like we were at that point in our lives, but that was the beginning of us working in another country. Now, I know I just said that that was the beginning of us working in another country, and that is true, but that wasn't like the entire beginning of our journey. Our very first thing that we did to make money, aside from like our regular jobs that we were working at the time, was we started selling all of our things. So for context, we didn't have a lot of stuff. Like we didn't own a house or anything like that. But, you know, after some years, I think I was like 24. So after some years of, you know, living in the city, we had like couches and I don't know, just stuff, camera gear and that kind of stuff. So before we moved to Phnom Penh, we listed all of our stuff on Craigslist, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace. We made the most sales on Facebook Marketplace out of all of those, and sold literally everything that we had that we didn't want anymore, that couldn't fit into a backpack. And we didn't have a storage locker. We didn't do any of those kinds of arrangements. So everything we brought to Cambodia with us was on our backs. And this was the beginning of us kind of starting to make money on the side. So I remember literally taking the bus across town to sell a headlamp that was a toonie. That anyone who's not Canadian, that's $2. We were selling things for really cheap, and we ended up accumulating an extra $1,000. And this is something that we still do. We'll talk about this later. But yeah, selling our stuff was really like one of the very first steps for us. So we moved to Cambodia, we took a contract, we taught English for a year. It was an amazing experience. Next up on our list was to go to Australia. This was always the original plan, and do a working holiday visa in Australia. But when I moved to Australia, I wasn't really thinking of teaching English anymore because Australia is a primarily English-speaking country. There's way less opportunities for that there. So I was like, what am I going to do? Because now I've just quit my job. A lot of my experience was like in being an admin assistant, executive assistant, predominantly within the film and TV industry. And so that's when I signed on with a temp agency or a staffing agency. So these agencies are designed to help people find work. So there are different categories for temp agencies. I think the most common ones are agencies for labor, like construction types of jobs, and then service industry, and then like office positions. So my agent found me a job right away working in like a marketing TV advertising space office as a receptionist. It was a 3-month contract. Now, full disclosure, temp work is the main type of work I still do. So when we came back to Canada, I took out the agency part of the whole equation because I was in less of a rush. Like, after all, I live here, I'm from here. So then I honestly just started finding jobs on Indeed, honestly. Like, I just sort the jobs by like the category type and I select temp or contract work. And this is how I got my last like bigger job that I got, was a 12-week assignment as an executive assistant. It was super high paying. It was like the perfect temp job to take before we went on this 6-month road trip throughout the USA. I would recommend temping to anyone, especially anyone who has any of these types of like office skills or whatever. This has been like the holy grail for me, to work and save in between big trips. Or like, for example, when I am living nomadically, say like in my van, but I'm in my home country and I can just like pick up temp jobs. Now, speaking about having like specialized skills. So when we were in Australia is when Nick picked up his first job as a skateboard coach. It all started because he kind of just started applying to skate shops as like a retail sales associate or whatever. And he did find a job doing that, but that skate shop also offered skate lessons. So if you have a skill like this, like a sport, or if you are a musician in any sort of way, something like that, like a hard skill that you could teach to, I mean, even adults, this is something that is universal. Like, people want to learn sports and music and skills like that all over the world, cooking or whatever, all over the world. So as long as you're able to communicate with your students, this is a great option for people, and Nick loved it. And speaking of teaching, if you are not new to this channel, you will definitely know this because I used to make a lot of content about this. But my English teaching journey did not stop after we left Cambodia. I still wanted to teach English, but like I said, I was living in like predominantly English speaking countries, and that's when I learned about teaching English online. I've made lots of videos about teaching English online. I will link one of them here, and I can put more in the description below. I absolutely loved this. The hours were a bit wacky when I got back to Canada, but this is something that I have been able to do consistently. It's made us money in between times or wherever I am on the road. And I was very passionate about this at the time that I was doing it really hardcore and full time. And so you will see that in the videos that where I was talking about it. I never teach on Palfish anymore, really. I do still sometimes teach on Cambly. So yeah, check out those videos for sure. But at one point I was doing this full time, like it was my thing. So from teaching English online, we kind of got into this whole world of just continuing to teach and whatever. And this is when we learned about our most recent online jobs that Nick and I both do. And again, if you watch our videos, you will definitely 100% know that we do this because we've talked about it in many of our, especially our vlogs. But we, for the past 6 or 7 months, have been teaching specialized classes on a platform called OutSchool. Now, this platform is not teaching English. It is teaching anything else, really. I mean, I guess you could teach English on it too. It's open to students, I think, in many parts of the world, but predominantly American students were in our classes. And you can be a teacher on OutSchool as long as you don't like have a criminal record, if you're from any of the qualifying countries to be a teacher from. And if you have a specialized skill in a specific thing. So for example, if you make stuff out of clay, you can teach that on OutSchool. If you play guitar, you can teach that on OutSchool. I was actually running a little YouTube course, a little Canva course. Nick was virtually teaching skateboarding. He's amazing. He can just adapt to whatever. And I've been developing a little poetry course for kids as well. It's kind of like Skillshare, except for kids. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about what Nick has done. It is crazy that we've done all these things in the past 4 years. Like, we have worked so many jobs, and some of them have been amazing. Some of them have been like, okay. But the next 2 jobs I want to talk about that Nick has been doing, has done, and is still doing are important, I think, because I think that people think that if you want to travel and be nomadic, then you have to have a skill that is like a remote job or something like that. And Nick has never been like a remote kind of guy when it comes to, you know, he can do anything that his heart desires. He is so capable and amazing, but he doesn't have a lot of experience working on computers and doing that kind of stuff. And I see that a lot in our comment sections, especially over on TikTok. I see that a lot, being like, oh, I'd love to do something like this, but I don't have the skills. And these next 2 jobs are not like what people would think are typical travel jobs. And the first one was when he got a job as a delivery driver in the Okanagan. He was going to work this job throughout our entire van build. And that's because it was like a 3 days on, 4 days off kind of situation. And the 3 days would be long days. Our plans actually completely shifted at that time for multiple reasons, and we actually ended up moving to Ontario. I've kind of introduced him because he was driving 5-ton trucks there into being a driver for a moving company. Again, full disclosure, this is like the main thing that he does now. And moving companies, at least here, are like a really revolving door industry where there's always new guys coming and leaving or like switching locations and all of that. So it's very normal. So when he applied to a moving company this time, like after we came back from our 6-month trip, he just told them like, hey, yeah, I need a job. I'm not going to be here all year. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I'm building a van. They know all of this. So it's been a really great kind of gig for him because, yeah, it's really hard work, but it's temporary. They don't expect him to be there forever. He can be honest about what kind of hours he needs and all of that. It's a little bit more casual in that way. Quick, he doesn't need to be trained that much anymore. It's just like quick labor. They always need hands, and he's a pair of hands, basically. Another job that I worked when I was living in a van was at a hotel. And hotels are often one of those types of businesses that will hire seasonally. So they're looking for more staff in the summer and more staff in the winter at like ski areas. And so this was an awesome job for me. I loved working at a hotel. All of our videos last year when we were living and working in Kelowna and just sleeping in our van and all that and like doing that whole thing, I was working at this one hotel that I really, really liked the job, and yeah, it was awesome. The next way that we've made money this whole time will not apply to everybody, but I should mention it for sure, is YouTube content creation and brand partnerships. So this has yet to ever be a full-time income for us, but for the record, we make money from anytime an ad plays on our YouTube videos. So we collect that, I mean, YouTube collects it and then gives us our share of the money, and we get that money into our bank account every month from Google AdSense. And then we'll do like content creation for brands. So sometimes this means like posting on our social media channels, primarily on TikTok, but I also have done content creation for brands where they just want like videos and pictures and that kind of stuff, but I don't have to actually post it anywhere. They just use it for their marketing. But we've been doing more brand partnerships on YouTube and TikTok and even over on Instagram. And this has been really exciting for us. It's something that we've wanted to do for a long time, but no one was ever paying attention to this before. So it's a really fun way, creative way for us to be able to make money, work with companies that we love. And yeah, they pay us to basically give their endorsement and take photos and make videos for them. The next new thing that I've been doing recently is guest blogging. So being featured on other people's blogs, and then they will pay for the article. So I've done this for a couple publications this summer. Again, really exciting. I love writing like travel-based blogs. So I've been looking to doing this more actually. And I've also been looking into, I haven't done this yet, but if this interests you, maybe you want to look into this too, is writing articles for Medium, or like being an affiliate with Medium. I don't really know how it works, but I know that people write articles and get paid through Medium. So the main thing that I've been doing this summer and that I have done in the past before is working on film sets or picking up work on film sets. Before we ever went traveling, before I ever started in the workforce at all, the whole thing started from me going to film school. So I'm a film school graduate. I have some set experience. I specialize in production management. That's why I was working at a lot of production offices, kind of on the more admin side of things. But recently this summer, I've been working on this one indie film project here in the GTA area, and just picking up some days here and there. Like, I'm not working every day. I've been picking up some days in the AD department. Now, if you don't have any experience on film sets, but you would be interested in getting into working in film, a really great place to start is as a PA. They don't require you to stick around forever. As long as you are committed to the one job or project that they're working on and the dates that they give you, you're fine. You can be doing a job, making like really good money for a month or whatever, and then never have to do it again. Anyways, here are some like rapid fire, some other things that we do or are thinking of doing. So the first one, I mentioned it earlier, that I'd circle back to it, but we still sell our things like on an ongoing basis. We often go through all of the things that we own and just sell things that we don't really like use or whatever anymore. We are also open to taking more seasonal work. We have recently been looking at, I mean, we've looked at it every winter. We do explore working at ski resorts throughout the winter time. We're also interested in getting into like cruise ship work, or maybe working on a train in the Rockies or something like that. And we're also always open and willing to get certified to do more things so that we can be qualified to work in even more countries. So we've explored the idea of doing the whole diving thing and practicing diving and becoming diving instructors, or massage therapy, like stuff like that. Again, I don't know if we'll ever do those things. We don't usually announce things until we know that we're going to be doing it for sure. But we're always looking for opportunities. And if you are interested in seasonal work, you should check out these 3 websites here. Full disclosure, I'm not sponsored. I've never used these websites before to find a job of my own personally, but I know 100% that I have many friends that have used these websites and absolutely swear by them. Working through our entire adventures, while it's been tiresome at some times, and sometimes I have to film videos alone or whatever, it has been so worth it for us. It's built character, it's built experience, and we've built skills. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hi from Nick, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.